Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, listeners. It's me, Sulayman Ben Suwareh, coming on Facebook Live. Today is the 18th of February 2021, and the time is just gone to 2:30 GMT in the afternoon in Birmingham. Assalamu alaikum mbokk yi man la Sulayman Suwareh di ñëw Facebook Live tey di 18 of February 2021 waxtu bi dem na 33 minutes past 2 ci ngoon Birmingham, England. mbokk yi su nekkee yéen a ngi maa dégg loud and clear just let me know please xam naa ne yéen a ngi doon dégg music bi waaye su nekkee yéen a ngi maa dégg loud and clear just let me know. Sister Aïssatou na nga def please text leen ma foofu rek wan ma ne yéen a ngi maa dégg loud and clear si comments box bi. Thank you very much. Waaye am naa confidence ne you guys are hearing me now. Ni kon di ngeen ma message by now anyway thank you. Waxtaan bi tey thank you cheers maa ngi ne discuss the day today, 18 February. Deliberately, that's the way I put it. And lolu na joxe fan la bëgg waxtaan bi dem. And what about us? Dama ne discuss the day, 18 February, what about us? I know people are celebrating independence, and but dama gisut is independent to celebrate. And this is where waxtaan bi fu moo dem. But it's not about a blame issue. It's about waking each other up on said Sulin talk. We should be better than this. Our country should be better than this. Motamane, what about us? Lan lañ def as Gambians because we cannot blame political leaders alone. We have to take the responsibility. We have to take the blame. They could not have been who they are without us enabling them. And moo tax ñu war koo xool critically moo tax ma def topic bi that's critical because I am not in the mood of celebration because I have nothing to celebrate because I am still struggling to maintain the freedoms yoo xam ne moom lañ fight for recent. I'm not talking about 65 how we move this what I'm talking about the freedoms now. When 2 days ago, a young woman was going to be in prison because of someone else open up dollars in society. And we were going to watch. And thank God, few citizens stood up to not allow that to happen. When we see our people dying every day and continue to die on things that they should not have, die from. Or they should not have gone through that pain. And we will get into all that. Motamane gisuma a reason to celebrate. Because not one thing lañ ma mun a wax ne this is the reason we should celebrate. I'll celebrate my personal life. But it's not about me. It should be about us. Lanay nekk condition average Gambian. 80% of Gambian lies and conditions. Is something worth celebrating there. That country, what is worth celebrating there? We right now have foreign troops in our country for 4 good years. And we are thinking of extending it. That just tells us a lot about the country we have now. After 65, decline independence, 65 or 1970 debate before Nkubugo. I think the most important debate more not the date, but lan moo nekk Gambia. Are we better off? Buñ fàtte ne when we asked to become a republic, the Gambian citizens, the sovereign resisted. You throw the referendum out. Gambia nekkuñ in amuñ independence amuñ republic in 1968 when we asked our people. Dañ dem pour convince lañ ne we would be better because lan la suñ nit ñi ragaloon mooy ne if we have our own country we are not going to treat each other better. Bon ku wax ne Gambian bi conscious or Gambian bu demut school conscious wax dëgga because of them leen xool that time ñaata Gambians ñoo dem school but they decided to vote against on basis ne bàyyi tubaab moo ñoo gën a amee better than ñun suñu amee suñu boppa. They are vindicated and that should not be. ñu dem suñ leadership convince leen ne leen on contrary that's not going to be happen. Dem leen xool history bi in 1970 ñu indiwaat constitution bi ñu agree. Now we have betrayed that trust. We have betrayed that trust of that word boo xam ne suñ founding fathers joxe nañ ko ne look this is we are going to be better off. No, we failed that. Gambia, as people find it, when it comes to the word of our national anthem, Gambia have the best national anthem ever. And that national anthem can be true of us only if we get off our hands and participate to make sure that country is led by good people. Make sure we fight for social justice regardless of sin position. But we only fight for us, for ourselves. But we don't fight for the people. Or once we are not affected directly, we don't care much. We deflect. And this is what's been happening. True to our national anthem, when it said, for the Gambia, our homeland, we strive and work and pray that we all may live in unity, freedom and justice each day. Is that true of ourselves? The fact of the truth of that, as people, as ordinary people, we are united. But we are not united on a purpose to determine, to make sure we have leaders who are united, leaders who have the love of that country. Now the consciousness should be what we do as Gambians to make sure the unity among ourselves as family. Gambians ñoo xam ne ñun ñooy demante dëj ñooy demante ngénte ñun ñooy séyante utuñ si xeet o leneen. That Gambian lana tax duñ mun a jël dat jikko jël that position of strength to make sure ñu select leaders based on leaders yooyu ñan lañ doon seen jikko seen xam-xam ak seen bëgg a réew ak seen fan lañ bëgg a yóbbu réew mi loolu moo war a nekk dëgg on this moo tax suñu waxee disunity suñu waxee tribalism and everything fuñ koo fekka fu ñoo xëccoo place fu ñoo xëccoo pour lead nit ñi but suñ kër yi as I said, there's no country like the Gambia. You go even in small islands in the Caribbean, you have Indians, you have, Africans, you have others. In the Gambia, Amudan family, Gambia. So for Toge, so New Gambia, so for 10 years, you assimilate. You be part of us. We intermarry. My last visit to Gambia, our next door neighbor was a Ghanaian kuy run restaurant. Mu ngi cook Ghanaian food. The Ghanaian was selling Ghanaian food, and Ghanaian food very popular in Bakau. I was kind of amazed, but not doomi Ghanaian bi. You get laka pull footer. I'm telling you, the accent is better than mine. Domi Ghanaian you. Send Papa Christian, send a Christian, sing one, then you jog them church. Send Bonogen church nipsy. but kër guñ dëkka day ëppa doole ñu fa nekk ay migrants from Guinea Conakry ñoo fa nekk kër yu lu waas la because of the predominant language in there loolu la xale yi moom lañ magee xale yi ñu ngi amee turi Ghanaian ñu ngi amee santi Ghanaian and them leen xool Gambia and these are people that arrived about 10 years ago. They assimilated. And but when we have our differences, more because of our failed leadership, more you want to the differences. That's how they pull us. Rather than to unite us, they divide us in order to control. More than you want to hold to our unity and put that unity in the hamne monyo. And that unity has been proven. When our founding fathers were asking, demanding for independence, they did not fight. They negotiated for that independence. That independence was negotiated because then forgone Gambia cannot stand alone because geographical geographical position within Senegal, our size, our lack of mineral resources, and so on. Our founding fathers went and made a case. Our diverse people. Gambia would be sustained by its diverse people. It was not that Gambia will be sustained by Mandinkas, Fulas, Jola, or Sarohles. Then all of us will sustain each other. Not men or alone, but men and women. Is that the fact of Gambia today? When we pull, we see leadership, we see politicians pulling, and they pull by the pool opportunists. They are not looking after the best Gambians to come and lead. Them one line of influence to look at, to educate them so that they will conscious to choose among us the best out of us. Ñun am yaakaar did it. They point to their tribe, they point to other things rather than point to their ability, their integrity, their send moral values. No. Instead, when they point to the personality pul yahako, region or other things, but not on land money bole. As I said, that all may live in unity, freedom, and peace each day. Where is that peace? And not in the absence of conflict. But why do we have the presence of economic? Do you think we peace? We live in peace? No. Obviously, we get presence of economic because of feeling, and that's a fact. That's a fact. Until we have a leadership that can do the reforms, Malene, so economic gain Gambia will have a problem. I advocate for economic gain Gambia on condition we have a leadership that will reform and make sure we are stable. It's not. It's a necessity, but with the leadership we have right now, Malen wax ne economic du fa su fa nafa yaga. Is that freedom? Is that peace? Is that peace? Su nekkee ne average Gambian fu mu ne nii dem na 80% of Gambian fu mu ne nii mënuñoo determine 2 meals a day. Mënuñoo determine education. Mënuñoo determine seen well-being. ñu ngi génn di youth yaa ngi génn di dem on a mission te woo amut dëkk yu am woo la ñoo gisee noonu. You think that is peace? Gambia fa am jaama. Gambia nice. Yes, because of yéen a ngi enjoy the resources yoo xam ne yelloowu leen ko. Su nekkee ne achieve nga sa boppa sa liggéey nga ko yow war ngaa am empathie xam ne réew mi du ñëpp a dëkkee noo dëkkee. And not to the fault of them, to the fault of us. ñun mu xam better. In this society bu ñu nekk tey àddina bu ñu nekk tey it's up to it's not matter of wanting. It's a responsibility koo xam ne you am nga that influence koo xam ne am nga that affluence koo xam ne am nga that potential. You have to give back and fight for social justice. Rawatina Gambia boobu. But no, I don't blame the average Gambian because they don't know better. Because then they'll trust joxe ko si people they thought they have their interests. Yes, it's an irony. Well, how come they cannot still see it? Because of they still believe in the person they know. because that's how they reassured. That mindset is there and have to take time to change. Even the educated Gambian doesn't want to criticize the person he knows. Even the person is a thief, the person is anything, they will keep quiet. But they are quick to jump on someone they don't know, another Gambian they don't relate to or they don't know. And we expect the less educated people or the school people to understand that. That's why it's unto us, not a money us. You know, we're gonna make sure we can have an independent that we can celebrate. But right now, we don't have that independent to celebrate. It went on to say, let justice guide our action towards the common good. Let justice guide our action. Where is the justice? Gis nañ fi what happened with the 3 years judgment. We see Gambians, they celebrate injustice because of they bokkuñ xalaat ak ñoo xam ne ñoo génn di demonstrate. waaye xam nañ ñu génn di demonstrate ñu ngi demonstrate loo xam ne seen right la whether ñun agree nañ on it or not, they have the right to it. ndax outcome bi ñun bëgg nañ ko or not. soo bëggee sa right ñu defend ko da nga war a make sure nga defend right keneen. def nañ everything lu ñu war a def dañ leen jox permit and everything breakuñ benn loi but ñu gis an criminal act diggi bëccëg laal kaama ñëpp xam ne that undue force and provocation bi yëpp mu ngi jógee from the security forces because of that's what the government wanted. And we see people celebrating Gambians being maltreated. Not only that, it's now been proven as ñun mu ko toog gis ko objectively that we are not we are in support of their rights. We are not support on their objectives because of we feel that the objective was selective. It's not to represent the Gambian interests. But when we said that, lana xew mu dem court. The government doesn't have a case. Have government bi xam ne suñ continue with their case, in fact they will be proven to be criminals. You withdraw case be just to arrest them again. Now this arrest is what? It's unjust. They are doing it in order to keep these people quiet and to frustrate them. Why do we sit down and watch that? But many others. The injustice is not only there. You get injustice boo xam ne the affluent and people that are close to the president. Associate, yes, Banta Keita is associate of the President Barrow. And things are coming out. In the presence of a Gambian lawyer who is Banta's lawyer, $100,000 been given to President Barrow, Lulu Amna, and there are other witnesses that knew about this transaction. Because Banta is talking to people now. Banta is talking to people. But Demlen Hall mile to how many Gambians in the society more than fail ñoo face injustice. Did we have a justice reforms, criminal justice reform to determine most of our young people are not to be sent into that hellhole. They should be rehabilitated. They should be sent into institutions. Some of them are not mentally up there because of they live in 22 years of dictatorship. They are not equipped to deal with what is the challenges of our capitalist system. You make a victim of that, them such a mobile phone. Make a victim of that and be depressed or whatever it is, you them di tux jamba, you japalen and things like that. Them len said more for face. Wala them such a ganar, such a bay. You the police PR or the new one, you such a bay Japan. But better Japan when you such a millions. Millions because we have seen the evidence, had the evidence at the House of Parliament, the Minister of Health to how to accuse on department. You get the issue about the agricultural fertilizer problems and you have investigation, the recommendation by the Justice Ministry for prosecution, the passing of Mr. Jallo as the permanent Secretary of Agriculture then. Lana Hill. Mr. Jallo is still serving as a permanent Secretary of Agriculture. Where is the justice? Now, not only that, you see within society, most affluent or most powerful, the guys and status, the Japa an innocent mother, aye ko doomam doyut léegi dañ ko bëgg a tëj yaa ko. Where's the justice? Where is that justice? Where's that justice su nekkee ne average Gambian bi tey dafa desperate di am pour jël. You all see the journey, what journey they have to take just to be sent back without government and anything in place to to cater for them. But we have seen the president jël gis nañ mu ngi celebrate ak doomam yoo xam ne moom si boppam président boobu musu ta celebrate a birthday but mu ngi ko ñëw di ko rub in the face of Gambians. Where's the justice? And not only the president, the people around the president, we all see the change in them. Where's the justice? Luñ foog ne mooy justice. Towards the common good. Let justice guide our action towards the common good. Are we inclusive in the wealth created? Is equity within our society or in governance or anything? moo tax ma ne the average Gambian muñ su ñëwee to rehabilitation of schools, institutions and everything, average Gambians ñu ngi ko nekk di def both in the Gambia and in the diaspora. doo dee natee nit ki si ñaata la joxe but ene bi yàlla moo ko xam because am na ñoo xam ne ñu ngi joxe £10 soo xamoon fu ñu jëlee £10 boobu soo xamee lu ñu squeeze pour joxe £10 boobu. But every Gambian everywhere, some in the Gambia, I have seen that. Recently we had a project and one of the fundraisers they wax on the phone and a taxi driver génne $200 yi jox ko mu ne ko ngeen doole si. A taxi driver génne 200 in the Gambia. That taxi driver so among million would have done done far very significant change. But tey Holland, anything lu ñu rehabilitate in the country is done by Gambians, Gambian people. Instead of the government ñu ngi jël seen resources fu ñu ko yóbbu. The Gambians are working towards that common good. Tey Holland, the amount of fundraising for sick people, ñu seen ñu dee ñu seen bàyyi njaboot and everything else. Holland, the amount of fundraising for the common good. Schools, hospital rehabilitation and other things, projects, gardening, projects, women empowerment, projects, every kind of project Gambian people ñu ko def ku wax ne Gambian bi taxawul waxul dëgg. We have a failed leadership. But bu si gën a rëy mooy loo xam ne we achieve it and I'll come to that. 2016 Gambian si taxaw seen kaddu. Gambian si seen kaddu moo indi change with all the struggle buñ def. Gambian si on the ground ne look, we are not bothered anymore. If su nekkee ne politicians yi mënu ñoo ñëw together ñun xam nañ ne there is no solution apart from of coming together. Diaspora we wax the same thing duñ fi support benn individual party pour bu ko dem support sa individual party do that. Within 6 weeks ñu am that unit of purpose ñëw together. Gambian si jóg within 6 weeks génnee alal bu doy dugal ko si campagne against a dictator. Gambians on the ground gain a youth see gain a nekk at the forefront, take the risk and everything and bring about that start. Then Gambians see we are not to blame them. We blame us. Ñun mu am ñun mu nekk within ñun mu deal. We should make sure we do the right thing for our people. What am I this day about us? Towards the common good and join our diverse people to prove man's brotherhood. Towards the common good to join our diverse people. The importance about the diversity, diverse people. But it ended and closed up to brotherhood. And what brotherhood means is about humanity. And in fact, and that's the fact of it. Gambia, as I said, we have the Gambian dream. We all know centuries and centuries and centuries. More better we debate who was in the Gambia first. Because of what? Look, Mungal whole history, but let's hold how many centuries? How many Gambians? How what about that example of 10 years ago, a Ghanaian then came and assimilated and now. Demlin Hall. When we come Gambia, when we were independent, how many people? About 250,000 Gambians, stay to almost 2 million. The last time I checked, our population growth on migration is 4.5%. On migration is 4.5%. One of the largest in the world. So xoolee suñ population density bi soo xoolee suñ land mass bi ngeen dem xool all West African countries from Senegal, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry, Mauritania, I mean, let's go on Nigeria and everything. I mean, Ghana have put roots in the Gambia and they have thrived and we have been together as one. Amut fen, I'll tell you, amut fen, do Senegal, them leen xool Senegal ba tey how they discriminate foreigners or none. Or you even the Gambian boo xam ne yaa gën a bokkaa ñoom. That this is the fact. Our own. Dañ waxante dëgg our own. How we Gambian accept our own cousins. Waxuma la cousin yi yaa ma neex de. Sa own cousins. Gambia mi corner because of our significant Gambia for naive Gambia mi corner. You think? It's a mindset. Senegal pay the dialogue. That's a mindset. Hejal to anybody. Pour ega, for more ega. Go to other countries. Go to other West African countries and see the difference. And then that was true to us. That man's brotherhood. When good times were good times. If people who can remember, when the IMF recommendation came to even put dugal that pay naka two tie system be pay for medication. Buñ waxee pour foreigners to pay more than Gambians. It was a difficult thing to accept. It was a difficult thing. It's a condition very, very difficult to accept. We are going to see a difference. The Gambians would pay $5, foreigners $10 for medical. To Taibo. Because we don't know that. We have been a very accepting people. If we are that generous towards foreigners, if we can easily integrate people to accept people to be assimilated and to be what they are, so that you not a I'm Santa Monica in the Gambia. And Santa Monica can easily find themselves as an ingenious part of this Demlen Hall. Whenever the debate comes, when so certain selfish people the HO resources because they are not competent of them, their ability, ñu bëgg a affaire tuuti pour ñu mun a hedge. You move on to that. We pledge our firm allegiance, our promise we renew. This is a point today we should really think about. This is where today should be. This is what today should be. This is what should be in order what we have read before or what comes prior in this national anthem to be true. If we want that for the Gambia homeland, we have to make sure we pledge that firm allegiance and our promise to renew. Today is not a day of celebration. What do we celebrate? When it's sad. We have to laugh, if not we cry. We cry enough. Then cry enough. We cry all the time. We hardly have reason to celebrate. We hardly had reason to celebrate. We'll get there. What do we celebrate? In the celebration when am tay luma gis, do you know I have not listened to the speech? Why would I? What does it mean? What does it mean? What Adam Abaro say? What does it mean? When Gambians don't realize the biggest damage that done to our country, more when we have Yaya Jammeh, and after Yaya Jammeh we have Adam Abaro. Now Adam Abaro, it have put a nail in the coffin. You don't believe anything that leaders say, and which should not be true. Then it's us to prove that not to be true. We continue entertain Alama Barrow. We are entertaining the Gambia. This is who we are. Who we are. So nango ki jitu kutao du nyaka wa digga on everything. We'll get there. Taxaw ba di admit ne loo wax waruloo ko nit ki loo wax la rek pour nga dem sa yoon koo xam ne wax admit la ko we entertain that but lan la ñu celebrate we see celebration lan la ñu indi soldat yi ñu indi different units the marine the naka la tudda the infantry and the police the other services ñu def ñu ne dañ celebrate dañ am pride you know why we do that it's pride that's the tradition colonial, but not even colonial, but because in German in time King, I mean, Chosan, yeah, we have soldiers. Yeah, this was the, but this is what we said in the flag, the tier flag, and everything. What was true in there? Lan more true in that square? Nothing. Not what the president said. Minuko, halatuko. That's not true. What's the point of wasting money? What is true about that show of pride? Do you know what? Those soldiers, pride. Why didn't we bring Ecomoc to do that for us? Because of the president, I would trust in them for good reasons, but he is to be blamed because I'm the 4 years. We don't have trust in that institution, not we don't have trust in every soldier. Now, in fact, more in the soldiers into that disrepute. I'm the opportunity, just resources, just time and everything to reform that institution, mubany. Because he want to use the institution for what it was meant for. He don't want to reform it to in the institution to mean something else for Gambia. This is what luñ wara jangé fi. More bañ. Now, in that institution to distribute melni now so waxe about the armed forces or waxe security sector bi dafa melni da nga saga everybody on uniform, which is not true and not right. What we say we know we among them ñun waxuñ motax ñuy fight for their pride. dañ ne within dem ñu génnee ñoo xam ne waruñ faa nekk ñoo xam ne yelloowuñ seen place ñu teg fa ñu fa doomi Gambien ñun ñoo lañ wax and make sure Gambien si amee seen kaaraange that's what lañ wax look define suñ kaaraange lañ wax not this distortion of Gambia armed forces which is even a distortion fa lañ war a njëkkee ana armed forces ana sa it's just nonsense but lana tax ñu am ko lana tax ñu ko maintain ñu ngi leen a promote all the time ñu ngi yokk seen budget all the time te productivity nekku fa at seen pride sax nekku fa but in fact ñu ngi la ngay gën a def ñu gën a volatile gën a nekkee ticking time bomb that's what we are doing right now what do we have to celebrate lan la ñu celebrate ñooñu ban pride lañ am du dëgga ñu ngi dem celebrate yëpp ñan ñoo taxaw di garder président bi ay sénégalais ñan a tax ñuy garder président bi dañoo fa ne Gambian population bi la non soldat yooyu moo tax ñu taxaw fa di garder Sénégal soldat Gambien président bi ñooñu lañ ragal soldat yu lañ ragal ragaluñ soldat yu nekk si biti ragaluñ Yaya Jammeh si biti or anybody outside ñooñu di taxaw foofu ne dañoo show pride ay foreigner ñoo taxaw di garder seen président distortion bi waaye ñu ko nangu ñun moo tax ma ne again we come back to us we blame ourselves for this ñu continuer. As I said, the pledge, our firm allegiance, our promise we renew. Keep us, great God of nations, to the Gambia ever true. Keep us, God, great of nations. Sunekon, that's why this word, keep us, God, great of nations. On our faith. But where is that faith? Where is that faith? Where our religious leaders don't talk truth to power, but they selectively speak. Selectively. We have seen what we went through the 22 years of dictatorship. The few that spoke, lan moo leen dal. Where was the solidarity of these Islamists or the Christian communities? None. Ku nekkaa ngee raay sa mbota sa mbuur. To the last, even imams were in prison and kidnapped and in prison. Not in prison is wrong. I mean, you've been kidnapped. And still now, we have our senior Islamic scholars to celebrate the president. But they, Bundeme Bedano, all these people turn around to see the bad in that president, in that dictator. I don't want to call him a president. This is where's that faith? Where's that God we believe in? Now you gis the same thing di continue di ñëwaat and ñu ngi selective because of mu ngi joxe ay millions to them. Now seen mbimbar yi at yooyu they will never do the right thing te Islam kenn du ko génne si politique. Islam kenn du ko génne si politique, I'll tell you that, because of mooy lan mooy politique. But everything that's about suñu land dañu am pour quiet about our land si mbimbar bi, dañu war a quiet about social cohesion si mbimbar bi. Xam nañ ñan ko cause ñan la nekk indi division si. Are we too quiet about that? Then I'm too quiet about corruption in society. Then I'm too quiet about the suffering of our people. Then you are quiet about injustice. Then what do we stand for as Muslims or Christians? These are the things of the national anthem. But our history, instead of opportunity, we turn our history to political opportunism. Instead of our history, we use the opportunities we have to build that nation. No, we turn to a country of opportunists. More money, I am not holding the average Gambian responsible. I'm holding us the influencers, social influence. I'm all holding up the leaders. Because of, as I said, Gambian be always the fight jital and trust to the extent of xamuñ ne kooku la ko war a serve. Gambian be dem be gomne, then when you go for public office la nga war a ut dem for public office to better yourself, not to lead the people, not to serve the people. We have an opportunity, Gambia. We had an opportunity. Gambia that we had, Gambian that had impact in the international community, Gambian that have produced an environment but not this thing rosy, but to compare that time in the West Africa where people come for medical, people come for education. At the suñ borders yi yëpp dem leen xool suñ borders yi yëpp, it was the other way around. My border from Amdalai area, people in the Senegalese territories used to come to Gambian schools. And them in the Phonis, people from the Casamas used to come to Gambian schools. And them in the Jaras, people from the Casamas on northern Casamas used to. And them Kiang, people from the Kabada area come to school in the Gambia. And them from the Basse, people from the Wellingara used to come to school in the Gambia because of what? The opportunities you have. If you are educated, you have it. Medical days to come to our hospitals, operations and every this thing used to come. People traveled in many aspects. I mean, because La Fayaga, I mean, for different reasons, people came down west, but they came further down to Naju, si Atlantic bi mooy Gambia. Moo tax suñ buggee understand why the Gambia, most people when they left their destination, they never choose to ne Gambia la ñoo dem. They just choose to move. They just keep on moving and find themselves where they are. Because of challenges and obviously savannah and conditions and so on and so on. But as things start to improve and others, Lulu mom lañ am. I think it's 1358 or something like that. Ibn Battuta, Ibn Battuta, the not African explorer. What does he say about the Gambia? The people. Buñ waxee about Gambia, mu ne the people. Mu ne the people are seldom corrupt, trustworthy. Di wax ne people dañ bañ ku jël advantage on and strangers because of lu mu fa fekk the hospital. This is Ibn Battuta. The guy wrote about every place he went to, and everything that he wrote about, these things have been found to be relatively a good narrative. When he came down to this far west, he represent that's what his representation of Gambia was, and that continued. Motanga is the continual migrations. We have countries have better economy. Do you know the Ghana, Nigeria? They always have conflict for migration and other issues. It's still going on now. Right now, a few months ago, it was going on. Muy Togo, muy other countries, muy Ivory Coast, and every other country. Muy Sierra Leone, Liberia, other countries. Gambia is the only country that's it is that acceptable. That's gis nañ ko. When even Senegal had a problem with Mauritania, we were the peacemakers. We and so we didn't take side. Gambia was known of the international community, represent something, and we lost all that. But once we went through a dictatorship, 22 years, we had and loolu yëpp lu ko indi opportunists. You see, technocrats, they don't care. So-called technocrats, they don't care who is in power. And now, some of these technocrats are very happy because of, in fact, now, because of Barrow is indecisive. Barrow doesn't have the moral compass, doesn't even talk about corruption. He dare not, because he's absolutely corrupt. Everything is absolutely corrupt. And these are the people in Gambian eyes. Just as the diaspora ñoo xam ne dañoo dem di yaakaar government funds them ne Gambian eyes. But any honest Gambian would them la flane, yeah, there's nostalgia about certain things, but the pain is more than what they enjoy in the Gambia. The pain. Any conscious Gambian would tell you that them Gambia is no holiday. It's the pain you have. Every day nga eewu lan moo laa fekk sa kër ngay dem around ndax gis nga any improvement in social life of people nga gis the life of the youths nga dem forward entertainment venues nga gis our sisters, gis our brothers, not only our sisters, our brothers have been prostituted. That's prostitution. Taxaw am ay góor lënga di taxaw ne dañoo ut màggeti tubaab pour seen life baax foog ne loolu jaama la but not loolu luñ gisut di am góor lënga yoo xam ne xale yu góor yu ndaw wala xale yu góor yu mag ñoo xam ne duñ góor jigéen ñuy faale wuñ pour sàkkantoo góor pour luñ am yow nga ne dem nga holiday Gambia enjoy ko. I'll tell you a fact. There's a percentage of time in the Gambia, madam, yes, with the rundown and everything, because I have memories in those streets. Madam, anywhere in the Gambia, I have memories. Madam Latiokuna, them Serakuna, them Dipakuna, them Banjun, Bakau, I have memories. And those memories, looking at it, was the good time. All good time mala muy halal ya di mag di fatelo di daw si koñi naka rite wante fo si koñi football si koñi school small school and everything, the good times. Memories were good for me. Ma dem to certain areas, di dem Tati Pere Bakau, di dem Pomba, di dem Fajara, di dem Sonwin, the good times. I have those memories. Good times. But the minute ma ñëw to presence, what happened? It's the soul. People, suma morom yoo xam ne xam naa leen, opportunity not to their fault, opportunities suma am, they are not lucky to have that opportunities. And some of these people, ñoom maa bokk na ñoom class ñu tegal dañ maa tegal all the time. But what opportunities do they have at keneen ak or other things? Gis how the mindset, this thing, dem nga dem entertainment venues. Gis sa own sisters. It used to be Senegalese lañ, Liberian si la jógee si lifin, Sierra Leone jógee si woo bi. It's not true anymore. The majority are Gambians. And amul benn koy ne kër gi la are Gambians. I'll tell you. Are Gambians. Nañ wax loolu rek. Du jullit or Christian. Du xeet du dara. Are Gambian youths. Ndig mag ñi duñ leen dee bugga. Are youths xale la. Ay xale yu góor di defar seen yaram pour ponkal pour lan yooyu di am that mindset. Nga dem gis the way ni ñoo traité suñu nit ñi nga ne Gambianize. technocrates yi war a toog pour liggéey pour Gambia non wax dëgg non et ku nekk fu mu war ne ñoo ñu waa def déedéet waaye su élection jotee seen technocrates ñeneen bokkuma si politique dañoo fen ñooy dem seen mbokka yi di fi waaw sànni leen baro xam ngeen ni suñ deful lii xam nga diaspora bu leen déglu yi dañoo bugg a seytaan dañ mu indi fitna the same technocrats ñoo leen def the same indi dictatorship su ñëwee ne waaw xam nga dictatorship bi kenn ñeme ñu to wax dañoo fen same technocrats they only thing they care about mooy seen place dinañ yaaxante dinañ defante lu nekk seen place ñemeñ ne ñoo yaaxante at yooyu waaye ñemeñ ñoo defarante seen kër yi at yooyu la ñoo xalaat that's where the problem is tey su Adama Barrow amee sañ-sañ ñun la opportunisme boobu la ak leneen ni lan la feel nañ ne du suma problème maa ngi mën a lijjanti suma dépense maa ngi mën a lijjanti waaye du dëgga it's not sustainable dëkk yu ko def yëpp it's not sustainable dina mujjee ji foo xam ne lii te Gambia fa lañ toolu it's not sustainable we have to do something suñ bëggee am da and look waaye ñuy war a manage loo xam ne we should Gambia am nañ opportunity to be governed and having on that am nañ opportunity bu dëkk bu ndaw la imagine the average xoolal the amount of Gambians yàlla baax na yàlla nañ toog rek dañ def the registration of Gambians in the diaspora di ngeen yéemu Afrique di ngeen yéemu ñaata Gambians ñoo nekk outside of Gambia di ngeen yéemu suñ paree ñu xool ñaata Gambians a nekk in Europe ñaata Gambians a nekk in America ñaata Gambians a nekk in other African countries and Asia yëpp that will tell us a lot about Gambia and suñ smartoon nag boole si nag check Gambians si seen profession xuruñ taxaw ñu xool loolu nga xool lana tax Gambia bi dëkk bi mel nu mel lana tax ku mel ni Adama Barrow du am sañ-sañi def lu moo def that's what we are so these are the things moo tax ñun ñu war a jóg make sure ñu def lu ñu war a def and suñ fogee ne GoFundMe mooy amee réew mi we are kidding ourselves I'm not discouraging GoFundMe it's necessary to important na si ñu koo jox but ñaata nit lañ bàyyi te ñu koo jox sax kañ lañ leen ko dee jox suñ naree dee moo tax most of people suñ leen yóbboo ñu dee because it's already late why didn't we have the prevention nit ñi am seen wér-gu-yaram waaye dañoo bàyyi ba nit ñi torox ba bugg a dee ñu ne GoFundMe ñu yóbbu leen ñu dee that's what we doing schools dañ mun a ñaata students lañ fail ñaata schools have failed these are the things we should ask ourselves ndax foog na déedéet moo tax important na ñu change leadership important ñu indi leadership in the sense ñun ñu taxaw leadership waxuma rek pour nekk président waaye nekk président ultimately moo dafa important foofu suñ ko amut right billahi li ka bi dem because doole moo tax constitution bu ñëw werante ni doole yooyu ñun ñu ko doon wàññi because ku ko téye su amee doole yooyu lu ko neex mu def to a reason anaa nit ñu jóg di nga ko justify say suma doole ku ma neex daaxa ku ma neex jël lii ak loolu lañ bëgg a génnee si loxo moo tax ñu war a make sure ne leadership boobu in anything we do suñoo tànn suñ bee buñ tànn bu ma nee nañ tànn ko moom suñ association si sax buñ tànn bu ma nee nga xam ne tapalekat yi sàcckat yi ñoo dee daw pour amee treasury bi pour ron lifin ñoo xam ne dañ bugg a fés bugg a lifin ñooy daw pour nekka ma nekka national président ma nekka lii xam na ne xamut munut ay yéetowut waaye nañ ko oyee benn soirée moo nekka suñ national président doy na ko wala tapalekat la ma lifin pour suñ indee fond si ma lekka yooyu yëpp dañ ko war a wécc taxaw di am NGO gis nañ ko fi ne dañoo dimbale jigéen ñi ana problème yi jigéen ñi dañoo dimbale ndaw ñi ana problème yi ndaw ñi doo leen gis doo leen dégga waaye mun nañoo dem si tubaab yi dem si keneen ak keneen lijjanti xaalis bi ne muut ñoom ngay gis ñuy change rek just as politicians yi ñoo change suñ paree ñëw di laaxu Facebook di ne dañoo criticize waaye are they accountable on the organizations they lead suñ so-called educated class bi and everything doo leen gis mukk suñ paree na foo toog a ñoom di criticize looy criticize foo nekka yow lan nga nekk di def, lan nga nekk di impact. soo paree ne jànguñ waaye ñi fi jànguñ dëkk bi du dem li fi yooyu lan nga def, laaj ko sa boppa. Lan nga def laaj ko sa boppa yow, because of suy dem rek ñun ñoo koo demal. waaw politicians yi, waaw politicians yi ñoo la tane. nit ñoom suñ gëmul dara sax bugguñ dara waaye ñu ngi parce que yaa ngi nangu ñu liit la. waaye lan lañ la ëppa ëppuñ la dara. te soo dëggoo billaahi yaa leen ëppa. Adama Barrow lawyer Darboe wala Mama Kandeh wala Halifa Sallah wala lifin soo leen pare criticize ñun ñëpp waaye yow lan nga def. danga ma bugg a wax ne from Barrow Darboe Mama Kandeh Halifa Sallah Dr. Cissé and other people yow amuloo kenn ku lifin bon taxawal leen demal advocate pour nga taxawal leneen. démocratie lañ am waaye déedéet du seen xaalis du seen xel du seen xam-xam. xam nga ñaata si ñoom ñu bari coow mi yëpp di la dañ mun a jàng dañ mun a binda. demal ngal wax leen ne da nga bëgg seen xalaat si dara pour ñu binda tur jox la concept on dara doo ko gis duñ ko def. dañoo noonu la ñoo toogee lii mooy suñu ko I'm telling you out of experience. I'm telling you out of experience we are good at that. demal tey nga am a project ñu bari ñooy dégg ñu laa oote di la wax seen jànga yëpp nga xool lifin nga jox leen na leen ñu dimbale la one page rek te dafa nekk seen area of specialty sax about environment about da doo ba xar yi delsi doo gis kenn te su paree mu criticize government su paree mu criticize political opposition bi kooku lana tax du supported benn opposition lana tax supported benn civil society Gambia ñu ngi noonu di struggle yow lan nga leen support du si xel di xalaat du si am du si leneen te ëppadoor bi dem nañ xool ñaata ñoo dee joxe ñun mu nekk behind the scenes ñun xam nañ joxekat yi Gambie xam nañ joxekat dañ dee rus sax mu tax mënatu ñoo laaj dañ dee rus because saa yu ñu laajte di same people la ñoo dem saa yu ñu laajte di same people la ñoo dem suñ joxe su fi Barrow oote woon o ñu gis political party bu likely war a am influence ñu jox leen de ñu ngee jox political party yi de bu leen gis noonu de ñu ngee jox Barrow ñu ngee jox political party yuñ yaakaar ne mun nañoo win elections fii kenn dafa pour lan because of loolu mooy seen interest but fu ñoo oote leneen duñ ko def but average Gambian bi moo tax ma ne xam naa because I have seen that moo tax ma joxe exemple da taxi driver dégg wax bi génne 200 am jox ko dafa dégg rek déglum dégg itti na ko but we had an opportunity to reset that button moo tax ma ne ñun la the average Gambian not taking credit from ñoo xam ne and I have to recognize that the 22 years of dictatorship they were at the forefront on the ground nekk a politician decide to be politician. They were not politicians in the first republic but you decide to nekk politicians in the during the dictatorship. Some of these people were civil servants, some of these people were private people, women, youths, elderly, whatever, you jail position, and they fought for that. Some of them were politicians in the First Republic. You decide to bañ a bokka si loo xam ne du dëgga. Yaya Jammeh was very generous with money and plus. We have seen the likes of Halifa Sallah, PDOIS. We have seen the likes of UDP. You have seen the likes of OJ Jallow when the PPP abandoned. I'm not gonna name Ahmad Ba because what I know about Ahmad Ba. And I don't have time to talk about that now. I've talked about it before and I'll talk about it next time. But why did I name these people there? But it's sad. Now these people today, Munino Gis, I cannot Bukuma use a household, but we all know the facts. Halifa Sallah, PDOIS, UDP, Oseni Dabo, Oje Jalo, and other people neck on the forefront of leadership from civil society. Well, Buguma say ball in civil society. Why ni Holland say they rather see Barrow and anybody else than something. And these people fought for 22 years together. Since money unity be. But this was the problem. More than you yaga in the dictatorship. But you know the Gambian people leadership again from diverse backgrounds. New order. With with the divisiveness of the dictatorship. Yes, Bulan Fatin, the dictator was enabled from different levels. But we always go for the military, we go to service. No. The, the services are last. No brutality be mortar. But intellectually, it was civilians. You'll be surprised. But intellectual, politically, people from the PPP, people from the NCP, from the First Republic. Mortar, when we give credit to PDOIS, there's a reason for that. They were from the First Republic. I mean, when we give credit for Ndamsiala Hassan Musa Kamal, he did not have a party. And that's the another thing to celebrate. But Mugis put position him as an elderly statesman. And during his lifetime, during the 22 years of dictatorship, Hassan Musa served that as well. He could have gone and revived small political party. And this is a lesson for land. It's everything is not to lead a political party. We can have position of leadership. Hassan Musa Kamara stood to unify the opposition. Nyep respect ko. And he played his role. Do you know how much advances Chairman Yaya Jammeh did to get Hassan Musa on side? He never fell for it. Never. I can remember that they publicized it. Bu Yaya Jammeh Hamene, he's not going to have what he have. Want Aissatou Ndiaye Seydi moo jël that negotiation. Hassan Musa refused. Jël nañ doomam yi appoint nañ lu nekk taxul mu bañ. And lu mu def mu respect bu mu amoon in society mu maintain ko leadership. Su nekkee ne nag loolu yëpp bu ñëwee to 2016 we the people manage maa la wax ne it's the people with all the sacrifice su nit ñi ñëwutoon together all the sacrifice ñu dee at luñ yaaxa yëpp that's what you look at lan lañ nañ def people came together nit ñi dañ taxaw no we are not going to do this. And that coming together, there are a lot of sacrifice that happened. But eventually, we had an opportunity to press reset the button. You see, from there on, we could have this day to celebrate. But Demnen Hall, that's why I wear this today. I will never. Manko Solama Lemarko Dencharko. I will always be proud of this. Bulan Kokenwa. The distractors. It's an insult to compare what we have now. I'm not proud of Barrow. I'm not talking about Barrow. I'm talking about what we have now, the opportunity we created again. What am an opportunity? Let's take that opportunity. Rather than make an opportunist, let's take the opportunity to make Gambia. We have the momentum, lose. We are at the brink. Momentum, I'm a pap at the tip. Gambians were united. Gambian came. Get them hold the independence of 2017. But I remind Gambians on something. Go and look at what happened 2016 independence. Do you know Yaya Jammeh? 1 minute. I know most people don't remember this. Most people don't remember this. And in fact, what happened was I am build a manuscript on what for my experience on Gambia and I started from whenever I can remember my life, and now I am on Exina Binana up to when record now, sorry, up to 2016, March 2016. I'm at March 2016. I get try to catch up. I'm gonna catch up the end of March, end of 2016, and then that would be my political history. But I want to work. I'm material to work with. But what happens here, Moy, when I come to 2016, 20 independent 2016, people don't remember. Yaya Jammeh did not celebrate, and if people can see this picture, this was Yaya Jammeh. And what you can see this here, Yaya Jammeh was really dark. And the story is going to come. It's going to come in a book. I'm going to tell Gambians what was going on. So, yeah, we talked about a little bit of it, but what was behind everything. Then Gambians will know how much a Gambian sacrifice. Gambian will know how much. You see how dark Yaya Jammeh was. Yeah? Now, some timeline be a minute. And this day, Yaya Jammeh recorded. He did not come live to address Gambians. He recorded this address, 2016, February 2016. You see, this tells Gambian there was something, lot of things been going on before the vote. Politicians were complimented. Yaya was put in check. Could remember where this started? This started when Yaya Jammeh went on a tour, presidential tour, 2015 November. When he got to Basse, he fell sick. In um in January, in January, Yaya had a secret emergency operations for 2 weeks. Yaya Jammeh was in Comedecado. Sol Baji and few people, about 6 people knew about this, and they were running the country. In December, APRC had a congress in the weekend, in a weekend. The congress was starting on a Thursday to finish on a Sunday, and they had the congress in Canela, and the congress was cut short, and everybody was sent to go home by Saturday. Sunday, Yaya Jammeh didn't appear. That was the reason. Because he was struggling. He was recovering from that operation. And Solen Hole Natalbi, that's where Yaya Jammeh started to wear his collar to here. Because of the operation was behind his head. The tumor behind his head, that was the operation. But the thing that made him sick was a different thing. We'll reveal that. Kufagne, it was just going to the votes and win the elections. You must be kidding. Yaya Jammeh was controlled. And remember again, in March 2016, it was February, March 2016 or February, opening of Parliament. Remember, Yaya Jammeh did not show up. Yaya Jammeh did not show up because of then he could not even control his bowels. Biram yange daw. Bete febaram mankut ame. You think that was all coincidence? The dictator was taught a lesson. And if you know the sacrifices Gambian had to do you know how much it costs to control Yaya Jammeh? In order for Gambians, Mota Yaya Jammeh lose control, this thing to give up. There's a lot been done. But we did all this, 2017. Demden Hall at the Independence Stadium. Independent 2017. Let me share this now for people that might want to look the timeline. Something else I shared was this. Ibrahim, this was another, this did it for me. This picture did it for me. I remember this day, Gambians, that day, the live commenting, Gambians were celebrating the armed forces. Then, Mola one day, how reform say, we just lost the momentum. The momentum, we took control. We had the presence of, we have security guarantors. We took control. Yeah, but am the momentum. Subduing everything. Ñom savage jëm ñëw nañ toog si podium ak yooyu and Gambian. But guess what? We lost that momentum. Gambians, you know, they celebrate. Proud of our soldiers, proud of the pam pam pam. The stadium was packed in the morning. Someone wrote Nemung for 12 hours. He didn't bother to drink or eat. I was not, I cannot remember um, independence. I was not born. But people who remember the day of independence, probably that's how they felt. Probably that's how they felt. But ñun mu fekkee 2017 this thing, I'll tell you, I think we relieve that moment, or some of, sorry, ñu fekkee woon independence 65, probably relieve that moment that day. But ñoo xam ne fekkee wuñ woon independence 1965, I'll tell you, I think they have that moment. Gambians come together. Stadium be overpacked. People them for njël and waiting for the procession. It was not because of Wale Seka Mugenyo, not Yusundur Mugenyo, or anybody, not Jaliba, or not anybody, that we are going to celebrate. We lost that. This president came and swear in 3 years more Safri. Go and listen again. You think I will listen to that person again on an independent or on anything? Dem nañ déglu lan la swear. Dem nañ déglu speech am bu mu def 2017. Go and check that speech. Lan la wax da laf ko dëkkee. Dem nañ déglu the promises of reforms and everything. Da laf ko dëkkee. Dem nañ déglu about unity. Da laf ko dëkkee. This guy now is inviting every tribe, people as tribes. He's seeing Gambians as tribes, not as diverse people. We celebrated that day. And the button should have been reset. And Gambia by now, and then reforms them, and you give into a government, you get all the mature, you get and Malo and the opportunities will be, bam, 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 bam. But instead, what do we have? Then digress. We digressed. Now in Nako State. In Nako State. As I said, things are coming out. Man, I'll keep on counting. Now, Barrow, nañ dem laaj Barrow ndax musuta gis, ndax musuta nekk in the presence of a Gambian lawyer. Because dañ ma ne he's his lawyer. But I mean, we are going to get that. Ndax Barrow musuta kii naka Banta Keita, or you call him, ndax musuta seet si Barrow State House in 2 occasions, and one of the occasions jox na ko envelope, but we are told ne envelope bi lan moo fa nekk $100,000. Na Barrow dem leen laaj loolu Barrow. And there are 90% possibility Banta is still in the Gambia. 90% possibility Banta is still in the Gambia. And because of the cartel, are still in control. There's no serious investigations. There's nothing. They want to kill this case. What do we have to celebrate? The sovereignty we're losing. Why are we losing the sovereignty? The whole of Gambia for Neka. Now we cannot even secure our own fiber optic. We have to rely on backup in Senegal, Sonatel. And we call ourselves sovereign. Lana in the poor infrastructure. Yes, Yaya Jammeh have damaged the infrastructure, but there was something to rebuild. We have 4 years to rebuild that. We cannot blame Yaya Jammeh for everything. 4 years to rebuild that and a fiber optic. That's our loss of our sovereignty. So when you to economic development, we'll find out. We are losing our sovereignty on economic development. Sovereignty lost is not to have occupied forces anymore. It's to have a resemblance of a government. You have a puppet in charge, and another country determine, or other countries determine how you govern. There's a loss of sovereignty. And the loss of sovereignty here, now, I think is political party leaders are invited by this IDEA, with Goodluck Jonathan, to meet in Abuja on the 22nd or 24th February. Is it going to happen or not? The letter was sent on the 12th, signed by the professor, that Nigerian professor. Now, to go and discuss what? Our draft constitution. For inter-party, political party leaders to go to Abuja to discuss a draft constitution. If we, more money, the country have digressed. If you understand the negotiations Gambia had to do in order to attain independence, I would ne Gambian bu nekk go and read Gambian political history by Dr. Senghor. Is it Jegan Senghor? Dr. Jegan Senghor from 19 I think it's 1950 to 1994. And you just understand the sophistication of the leadership we had, the sophistication of the leaders we had then, the negotiation they had to go through. When they went for negotiations, when you start the contact consultations, that's where the Gambian leadership, even they were then two views. One was for independent, one was kind of a semi-autonomy or whatever. But then you're together. You know, hence this is the position the British are inclined. They don't want us to be independent because of the British foog nañ ne we are going to end up to a burden, because they started put ñoom the way the world economy was, we started to be a burden because of groundnuts were subsidized for trade, because of, if not Gambia trade, even the French companies were paying a better price than what could have been paid in the Gambia. Now ñoom ñu ngi subsidize in order for Gambia to pay a market price boo xam ne will be competitive. Now ñoom ñu foog ne Gambia, if we have independence now, we're going to be burdened because of the individual. But they wanted us to, fix it with Senegal. Our leaders now, let's have this forum under the UN with an open mind of exploring Gambian independence or Gambia, integration with Senegal. But with that open mind, even if we agree on, we are going to have this integration with Senegal, Gambia want to maintain its identity. How do we do that? That's when the leaders they will want a national airport, we want a seaport, and we want jetties, jetties in the hinterlands of the Gambia, so that the produce from the province can be brought to the capital Banjul and the things to be sold, but again to re-export trade to the sub-region. That was a transformative thinking. Timbola Gambia do they think of this re-export trade, and that's what they actualize. And so 1994 Gambia would have been ahead of the position of, a free zone, and to the thing. Everything was started then. Yaya Jammeh corrupt yep, Yaha ko mungi ni Adama Barrow putting a nail in the coffin. People they criticize PPPB. Yes, that was something not viable. When people are talking of the Singapore, that was the idea. Everything was, telecoms was part of it. Telecoms when Jawara went to France, they negotiate telecoms. Even Senegal, they didn't see the importance. Non-African country thought about that importance of having the telecoms. Gambia, them negotiate the telecoms. We have seen the videos. Jawara negotiate from French because of there was advantage there. And the blueprint and everything was, Bunyo negotiate to build the port extension with the Chinese. My extension program, but it cannot be actualized. There was a program. But Gambia don't decide to go for sovereign funds, to create sovereign funds, take neutral for the sovereign funds. I'll tell you, Gambia have thought about that. How did they do it? That's when they went to Nordic countries. They went to Norway to get grants. Johanna would make them to create two things: to have the hotel school. One, to have the Senegambia and the Kairaba. And Gambia government shares on this. And create a hotel school to build the capacity of Gambians to run the industry. Those sovereign funds. Them then hold how much was wasted those properties. It was to upgrade Gambian tourist market to high, not low cost in the high living motor into the 4-star hotels and 5-star hotels. There was a thinking, there was strategic planning. The free zones were meant to be for factories, repackaging and other things to create the jobs and other. The telecoms was meant to be a center for companies to come and invest. This was what's meant to be done. But no, lan lañ am tey. You move on from there. We don't do that. We are becoming and why this constitutional try? This is again what Barrow did to us. Decide, decide to undermine. You see, this is what we should Gambians look at. Decide to undermine at 116 million investment in a constitution. Mu undermine ko them fay. That's corruption that he's been impeached for. He had bought those MPs. Ñu dem def ko. Ñu undermine ko, ñu vote ko out. Now 12 MPs. Buñ taxawee ñoom Baye Lamin Jobe and others di taxaw bu EU bi waxee other countries wax ñu ne Gambia is a sovereign country. Waaye ñu leen a dictate. The same people moom tama ne opportunist ñoom taxaw léegi taxaw bu nga wax ne na other country. And Nigeria just yesterday they have enough on their plate. Yesterday, how many hundreds of youths, children have been kidnapped again? They cannot protect even themselves. You must be kidding. Now, Barrow definitely stupidity, definitely nonsense. I'm like realize the problem. Like, what are these people trying to get from here? We have to be very careful. I'll tell you what. This draft constitution would never be anything. Now, why waste time on it? One amount time. 6 months before, we cannot, we have to have a referendum. 6 months before we can. We are not talking about the IEC, but them into registration. You think the IEC between now, they can register people and make sure you have a referendum before 6 months the elections? You think that is feasible? Suné Kene is feasible because of Suntame Bedako, everything that, you know, Sunko fast track says, it take time, it take about 90 days in parliament for it to come out of parliament. Now, if it comes out of parliament, now when you prepare for referendum, you think it's feasible? Suné Kene is feasible. If now just look at this. Tell me today what one issue which 75% of Gambian will agree. One issue that 75% of Gambian will agree. No, we could have this. We have done things right. We could have campaigned together to agree on the 75% vote. But right now, it's impossible. It's impossible to have 75%. Then why are these people pursuing this? Gambians, you know what? Why are these people pursuing this? I'll tell you one thing. The IDEA, an international body. Do you know what the international organizations do? This is a means of funding for them. They create activities to create jobs for themselves so that they can have funding. They can justify the organization importance or necessity for in order to have funds. I indeed then am interested. They will do that. Goodluck Jonathan want to build his international. Goodluck Jonathan want to run for elections again. These people have interest, but Lana is interest Gambia. Barrow is a fool. I'll tell you that. It's not an insult. Su nekkoon ne Barrow am na a cabinet, am na new am living, they could have done the calculus. It's impossible to revive this constitution. It's our doing. It's impossible. 75% of Gambians will not vote for yes. What I mean, for different reasons. Now, even time frame. Now, if we even go to Abuja or whatever, it's a loss of sovereignty. Why do we need Abuja for that? Now, this is exposing the government. Because it was the government that celebrated. It was the government that took a bill to the parliament and failed to defend that bill and in fact paid and undermined that bill. Who is to blame? Now, su nekkee ne ñëw nañ sa negotiate, you think Gambians will be stupid? Nañ xool any political party bu dem di ne dafa nangul Barrow ne ko naka la tudda the retroactiveness of this constitution ne for the term limit. Or you think nit ñi dañ ñàkk a fayda with all the consultation buñ def and everything, ñu decide ñu draft ñu pass ko baro ne bugut léegi ñu génnee lu baro bugut ñu def fa lu baro buga nañ agree on that ñu seet fu dëkk bi di dem. Why? Who is Barrow? Did not say ne Barrow dañ ne président bu faa toog we gis nañ week that position lu tax ñoom ñu ko contest léegi xam nañ ne su fa position boobu nekkee is technically impossible for Barrow su nekkee ne let's think of su nekkee ne sa Barrow mën na pour pass this elections gis nañ Macky Sall lu mu def dañoo bind constitution bàyyi ko foo xam ne suñ paree di indi mais naka indi naka adjustments luñ ko ooyee again of the constitution in order to run loolu la Ablaye Wade def in order mu mun a ron third term Macky Sall ñoo use the same technique lay mu ngi bëgg a ron third term gis nañ Uganda lu fa xew gis nañ dëkk yi yëpp lu fa xew why Gambia ñu bëgg a take that chance for Barrow why waaye su nekkee ne Barrow am na two terms lan la bëgga do you know why because xam na ne yaaxal na ba pare Barrow ragal na pour génn as a president because kaso la dem mbiri taay bi mbiri cocaine bi Barrow mënu koo rëcca I'll tell you that xalaa government buy ñëw bañ a pasu investigations suñ ko investigaté maa la ne there's enough evidence out there that it will tie to Barrow of failure to deal with this issue because of his complicit corruption bu nekk si réew mi dem nañ laaj seen boppa why di GRA Yankuba Dabo why he is still at the GRA for this lunch Yankuba Dabo gave $5 million to Barrow not officially from GRA now Barrow su xamee ne Yankuba Dabo mu ko jox 5 million let them deny it ñoom xam nañ ne am na they will not command it let them deny it the day not come we will nañ génnee the evidence of this because ñoomi neen ñu ngee defante within we know this that's how we know things moo tax Barrow the every institution am nañ change nañ ku fa nekk waaye Barrow bu mu ñëwee bàyyi fa Yankuba Dabo and we'll ask ourselves why this is the problem we have we look at Barrow and governance what achievement tell me one achievement apart from themselves more government parliament more people he appoints literally ñoo achieve something but not the average Gambian the Gambian businesses are suffering because of how the country is the average Gambians mu ngi suffer what did the Gambian gain from Barrow gis nañ Barrow bu mu ñëwee di yokk salaire Barrow di yokk dépense am and fu mu ne nii it's just the norm the health minister mu ngi yokk salaire mu ngi yokk dépense am now what about the nurses what about the junior doctors what about the other people in the hospitals you think they needuñ facilities needuñ motivation needuñ incentives no because of that's what the leadership is about each other empower each other not to empower the Gambian people to change effect that everything he does everything he's care about is about himself to the extent of everything he does and he's failing at it this guy lied about giving 10% of his salary he cannot even fulfill that how can you not even fulfill that but not that the failure money in fact they compare Barrow with the dictatorship or with the dictator that's the failure and these are the supporters saying it some comparison is the low bar is so low they are comparing it with the dictatorship now when they want to insult the Gambian intelligence they want to compare it with the First Republic as I said to you as a young person and still now I am a critic of the First Republic but I'll tell you that's the best we have ever had and if we had that today that's an improvement because at least we have recovered something now how do we build on that but no we are digressing down the absence moine the volcano have not erupted yet loolu rek a des. Now that's ñu ko support sax that's what they do, and di joxe excuse. I have seen people ne waaw gisuloo America sax ñu ngi lank ñaaka lampa. That's desperation. That's the desperation to justify. And in order to deflect, they try to blame the people, not to blame Barrow. Yes, I am gisuloo tey maa ngi taxaw di hold people accountable first. But when you do that, why not hold Barrow? They will not hold Barrow. They want to deflect. It's about us Gambians. But we have to hold Barrow for the opportunity he have to bring about change. Because of the powers, the executive powers, what he did, abuse everything. To the extent of Gambians are dying. Is it COVID or not? Gambians are dying. But we all know that's a fact of, and that's a sad thing. Some of us know some of our members, family members are dying of COVID. But we don't want to say it. Complicit. This guy turned around, Mune, 18th of, is it 8 or 18th of March? That's when he's going to put the restrictions there or the lockdown. When he had November, he had December. No, because of he is desperate to build a political party. Bill Lawade. When I told Gambians last year, Barrow have not had a political party. Hey, why register now? Yes, because of the IEC have failed. Because nobody you register political party. Where is the political party? Where is the structures? 8. Thank you. 8. Thank you. Fail. And this guy is desperate and infighting nonsense New Dem Tour. Before New Dem Tour, they said inauguration. Because what gomlo nenko ne Jaya Jammeh non la defon win da nga dem am projects. And I'll come to those projects. Bu mo def projects yi waxon nañ ko. Ne ko yaa ngee dem di leb xaalis suñ domestic. It's dafa indi high inflation. Inflation bu nekk di am tey prices them up waaye leen sa prices them up waaye lii Gambia la naka waaye naka dugub bi Gambia la jógee la tax muy dem up lii Gambia la jógee mooy you don't understand the relationship da ngeen foog ne this is the problem. Economics dañ ko war understand. Borrowing bi lan la def inflation lu mean tey prices mu ngi dem up ana development tali bi ak bridge yi lan la njëriñ nit ñi. No, pour foog na ne su ko defee looloo ko win loo election mu dem def ko. It's not based on a strategic development plan. ñu dem def foundation stone fu nekk woon nañ Gambie yëpp marché yi fu nekk def lu nekk kenn waxoon ne bu mu am ba dafa am yoon dafa am sàkka yu mu tegu laata mu def ko pour win election mu def loolu yëpp jógee fa mu ne faa dem toog. The same person bu ñu njëkkee si first lockdown bi lan la defaat mu ekkati lockdown boobu ubbi ko mu ne faa dem Makamakunda pour ubbi këram gi. Kër gum sampa ba pare ubbi police station kër gum sampa loolu la doon dem inaugurate dem yóbbu fa famille gars yi def fa celebrate birthday ñu gis ko jabar yi di xajaan with the poverty around them they don't care ñoom rëcce nañ ko rek they can celebrate now amuñ empathy kenn waxoon na boo salbe but bu ko rob suñ face amal empathy for our people we are living in the country mu lift lockdown bi in order pour dem def loolu about him. He doesn't care about Gambian lives. COVID money bi ñëw mu tasaare ko yëpp among supporters pour political capital. But right now luy dem li yëpp mu dem def tour boobu li fi dem def presidential tour bi yëpp faalewul about the COVID. Mu ngi doon wax di loñ jot mu ne ngénte li fan nga gisee ngénte bala ñoo génnee tur bi ñëpp tasaaro géwél yi tasaaro ñu ñëw uyu si tur ngénte bi tasaaro. That's actually what happened because lan la génnee tur bi mooy su Barrow jeexalee wax ñu ne waaw nag ëpp nañ lañ dañ defin bi ba defut fu moo génnee fu ñoo olof yi ooyee dante tur bi whatever it is fa la nit ñi génnee that failed speculative fail launch. Now léegi am nañ idea léegi they try to catch up again dañoo def relaunch regional launching how ma relaunching looloo tax on the 8th on the 6th moo tax de moo tax ñemeñut a indi lockdown buggut a indi lockdown léegi ba on the 8 leadership by example. Yes, ñeneen ñi suñ jëlee responsibility bravo, but you think musicians will take that responsibility? You think those organizers will take that responsibility when the president saw that? You think the people would care? Yes, people should care, but they would not, because that's the country we live in. That's the society we live in. Gis nañ organized society sax how people resist when leadership take the decision. Dem leen xool UK fii di demonstration yu nekk di am di in Belgium, in America, in other places. People, human beings are like that. Moo tax nga need a decisive leader to do that. But he is so selfish, he want to have this relaunch. He doesn't care about the people. Or someone just said UDP have cancelled. Someone have shown UDP have cancelled. Now UDP have cancelled their fundraising. But the rest are happening. People are crossing borders to come because of New irresponsible. We have a irresponsible leader. And people are dying at him. He doesn't care. He want to have a political party. Te man maa leen ne na dem defaat the same thing because the guy doesn't get it. La nga am foog nga need a political party structure. Su defee lockdown bi on the 8 loolu dina ko dimbale ba tey mu ngee daw for this congress de te IEC nag su nekkee ne political party amul congress doo mun a IEC nañu wax fan la Barrow dem elections mu ngee daw this congress. Mu ngee def parti launch mu ngee def relaunch at yëpp ba tey waxaguñu congress bi gisuñ structure ba tey amul structure mënuloo am structure yu mobilize does not make sense waaye xam na ne amul ñu ko mobilize am la fi ñoom Dahaba and others. This is the problem we have. It's not about Gambia. Now you let people die. I don't care. We have reports of 2 ministers. There's a minister already in Senegal. That minister is dying to come back. Already ne mom suko doctoram briefing try doctoram by Saturday he want to come back to the Gambia. Do you know why? Because of his absence, he's scared. The things he have left behind, they will find out about that corruption. Bailamin Job is in Senegal. He want to come back on Saturday. He want to come back, regardless of his condition. That's how much they want to protect their loot and what they're doing. But as we said, what's this government achievement? International community, Gambia is not even recognized as a sovereign state anymore. Nobody takes us seriously. Because even our domestic issues, we have to try and get someone to help us with it. And Nigeria is struggling. You will follow them auspices of Nigeria. That's what we are. In our security, we have to have foreign troops. Now, we have to negotiate foreign troops for even after the expiration of this. Where is our country? Another impact, like Gambia. We had an opportunity, as I said, after 2016, Gambia to lead democratic nations, just as Sadauda did. Sadauda, SEALs, when you form SEALs, he was given the recognition and given the respect. I think he was the first chairman of SEALs. Radio Gambia, we were young in the 70s. Radio Gambia, Silinko Bill. To house because of Gambia Abuton infrastructure to house different head of states. Thank you. GDC also rescheduled their Congress now the 5th, 6th March instead to the 12th, 13th, 14th March. Yeah. Something like that. And Radio Gambia Silinko Bill, those Mile 7, sorry, not Radio Gambia, sorry, Mile 7 residents Silinko Bill for common head of states. SEALs. OIC conference, Gambia, the prominence, and in fact, the different organizations, and the Gambia have the president and that's what a country is. What they learning. The guy cannot lead anything. The guy cannot inspire Gambians. He cannot represent Gambians. Is that a country we celebrate? What do we celebrate about it? But without leaving it long, we come to conclusion here. It's about self improvement because of domestically and international. Let's just go quickly on security. What do we have to say for security? Now, as I already said, the presence of economic. I am look. I'm just talking about the physical security. Even I'm not talking about the social justice and other things. That's what security is. You mom la national security. Bunguma dugo fu sori sa. Nañ rek the physical security. We know what's happening. We fail on security sector reforms. That's why we have economic. This is something that Barrow have promised, or that is what we agreed on. You see, the MOU was not about 3 years alone. The MOU was about democratization, to return Gambia to democracy, return Gambia, put dignity to the international community, but give Gambians dignity, our standard of living, our condition of living, our behavior and everything. Did we have that reform? No, absolutely failed. Our security failed. Security sector now is difficult at times to talk about because we have criticize the individual, the personals. No, we are criticizing the governance. Our young, our police officers, men or women, our soldiers, men or women, most of them want to do good, but they don't have the leadership because of the leadership have failed. More the political class, the leadership always is governance. When governance fail, everything fail. How can they be proud to wear the uniform? How can we be proud of them? And we should be proud of them. They're giving us a service. They're sacrificing something. They're volunteering that service. They're serving under national duty. We fail. Governance and mandate. Governance and mandate. Everything about this government have failed. Fighting corruption, no, it's more corrupt now than ever. The Janneh Commission, we have seen what happened there. Now we're in limbo. Now, our constitutional review, we have seen what. Do you think we have hope for the transitional justice system? No, absolutely not with Barrow. The good thing about TRRC would be lost if we don't have a serious government in place, or Gambians who hold a government to account. Health. Health. Hey, look, it's the evidence is out there. The amount of Gambian die. But take this now. All the time a Gambian die, Senegal they don't live in Senegal. They take them to Senegal and they die. Because most of the people die because of what? Then Sona Balanyo Ega Senegal. They cannot even be safe in Senegal or Europe or anywhere. It used to be, first of all, was different. What I don't talk about dictatorship because it's all based on lies and this. That's where everything started. Empty hospitals, empty promises. I will come to that. But we come to this. Lobitan, we have seen the death of our women, our sisters, trying to give life and losing lives. Hospitals. None of these things are addressed. None of these things are addressed. We have seen how many times Gambian intervened when there was shortage. Every day we hear Gambia calling up, we want blood O, we want blood A, blood B. How can a government referral hospital be shouting out, we want someone to donate in order for us to do it? Is that blood even safe? Because of the treatment that blood should have gone through, the test and everything before it be transmitted. We are risking people's life. Do we want to say that if someone is about to die and they call for blood, or when I get there, you think that they're gonna test my blood for some of these things they need to check? No, that the blood bank system is not working. Yes, we could always launch a campaign for people to donate blood. Then if we get that blood goes through the banking system, blood banking system, where tests are done, storage are done, and other things. And when there's a need, there's no running around looking for donors. There are availability of blood in every health center in the country to be served. That's what a blood bank does. But we cannot even run a functional blood bank. And the health, and that's the sad part, the health minister, we have never had it better before, even Tami Jawara Tami. That's sad. You see, that's why I said our people, even this leadership, is all about themselves. What have made them the campaign for his allowances? You know, the allowances go to 100 and something. I don't know what figure is right. You know, the allowances is not tax. That's why they go for allowances rather than a pay increment. Why not negotiate a package? Why you think about yourself alone? The hospitals cannot run without nurses. Hospitals cannot run without other technicians. Why do you think that the doctor is much more important? Not absolutely. They are important and equally important. And in fact, in certain cases, some people could be saved with nurses. But doctors cannot do much without nurses and others because they have to do the follow up. They have to do the check. They have to do, monitoring and other things. The doctor wouldn't be there. This is an issue we have to look at. That's the healthcare. Education. Still now, we have not got an educational review. We have not reviewed our curriculum. And how can we have a development agenda when we don't prepare to know what education is required? We have not improved the access to education. We have not improved we have not improved the quality of education. Now we have this two-tier system where private schools and public schools. Private school for people who can or who have the means or support to go in there, and those who haven't to stay within this thing. Or if you are lucky, you go to a missionary school, whether it's the Ahmadiyya or the Christian or fraternity or something. Those are the three systems we have. Instead of looking holistically to our educational this thing, take stock and review the curriculum, review see how to improve this, to reform it, none. Not higher education, no, 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 not junior schools. We are talking about running another university, just to say that Barotam Sampanafi University. Is that development? Well, rather than look at it, we have students going to Gambia College, going to the School of Medicine, going to other places, cannot afford because they come from poor backgrounds. Why should we not have 100% education for pay for these people when we can afford to sponsor an army and do other things? Why can't we have students be paid for to be doctors, to be agriculturists, to be teachers and others, quality teachers? What's the point? This should be our priority. Then that's why political parties come on to tell us their programs on this. This is the thing we should empower, to ask political parties to position themselves on this and campaign on these things and get the people up, and we see the difference we can make. How many dropouts do we have? He doesn't even make it to the school finishing stage or whatever you will call them, or they get there, they are just dropouts. How many? Look at the exit results. How many percentage have a credit for whatever it is, English, maths, or science? But guess what? The president's children are in America right now. A home bought in Seattle within the first year. Bought a home in Seattle. Yaya Jammeh probably did it after so many years. In 1 year, he bought that home in Seattle, and now the family is in there to study secondary school and other levels. And now the other kids are attending the American school, not public. And that's for the cabinet and other people. What about the average Gambian? That's why we should try and get the people to understand this. Try to get people to understand this in order to, to vote for people that would bring that to them. Let's look at agriculture. It's completely dead. Completely. Tell me where. What part of agriculture productivity have been registered? Look at the rice development. What did we register? Nothing. Maro Farms, a Gambian the engineer that left America and came with this idea of developing rice. And he have actually, he took the initiative, invest his own funds, and have actually proven that the strategy used would work. He have cultivated an amount with women farmers, and to the packaging and everything was professional and sell. Whenever he produced the rice, it sells in a moment. That gentleman have applied for not a grant, for a loan, because he cannot, because of the loan interest rates in the banks, private banks, he cannot do it sustainably. He have asked government for partnership, government to give him a loan that he will pay back, and he's going to create more women kafos to cultivate so that we can produce more rice and market more rice, empower the women, at the same time make availability of rice, and that would address our balance of payment deficits. that will address our balance of trade deficit as well, that will address inflation, that will address the foreign exchange. That's how countries are developed. Availability of rice, quality of rice, and everything. These are the things. Up to 2 to 3 months ago, I last find out. Still, he have not got that money. He have been promised everything. And to the extent of the president went out and spoke about this many times that, yeah, we are about to do this. Still, it's not done. Well, which part of agriculture? Look at poultry. We still importing chicken. Why would we import chicken? And how many Gambians? This is, you see, this is the lie when people blame the youths. You know how many youths are trying the poultry industry? How many youths are trying on animal husbandry? And go and look where do we have that support? Do you know how many Gambian diasporas have invested in these areas? Where is the enable environment? Where are the incentives? These are where Gambia government should put incentive to make sure we have enough produce, enough for ourselves, and to even export. That's what agriculture development should be. Where is it? None. What do we have to celebrate on independence? What have Barrow have to celebrate on independence? Why would I listen to Barrow? We should ask ourselves, how can we bring about this change? And we should engage ourselves, to engage our people, to make sure they select and elect citizens that will bring about the change. We look at the finance and economic planning. Look at our finances. We have, in 4 years, we have taken more debt. It's not bad to borrow, but you borrow smart and manage it well, to be productive, to repay and develop, but not just as a lifeline, just like a junkie. We have borrowed more than we borrowed in 20 years of a dictatorship in these 4 years, and we have not still seen anything yet. Where did we invest it? If we had borrowed to invest in productive industries, productive sectors, now Gambia would be. So if you have borrowed to invest in critical industries, the electric, communication, and make sure it's not corrupted and led by right people, Gambia would have salvaged ourselves. We could have paid for these loans and debts and get out of poverty. It's possible to do, but we have to have the right leaders. But the only time we have the right leaders is us. We stop supporting people because of tribe, stop supporting people because of family, and support people because of they have that integrity, and they have the know-how, the leadership quality, they love that country, and they are ready to serve the people and lead the people, not to be those bosses. Finance. That's where's the economic planning? We don't have economic planning. Where is NDP? Nobody talk about NDP, and we know everything is political. Every project is political. The thinking is political. Corruption. There's nothing like, closing the taps. Leakages everywhere. Tax revenues where people are overtaxed. And the money are not even accumulated for people again. That's the worst, because it goes to few people. Go and look at Yankuba Dabo and people at GRA, the senior managers, and even the middle management. Go and look at their assets. See whether they can afford those assets. Where they have properties in Senegal. Go and see what properties Yankuba Dabo have in Senegal. And some of these people, what properties they have in the Gambia. And in fact, in America, what property Yankuba Dabo have. Go and look at that. Why people are overtaxed? Why businesses are overtaxed? What is the incentive for Gambian businesses? Where are the policies? They want to make Gambians to be xenophobic. No, we're not asking to xenophobic. We're asking for policies that empowers Gambian businesses. Why do we allow any Tom, Dick, and Harry to come and invest in from abroad to say that they are private investors for $5,000 to open a restaurant or open a big bar? Why do we allow any non-Gambian to open a big bar? These are the kind of policies we can justify. If we talk of a foreign direct investment, it's not 5,000, 10,000 that the Gambians can invest in those sectors. But how do we empower Gambians to do that? These are the things we need. Where are these business schools? Where are the business colleges? This is where we need to look at our curriculum. The institutions that need to develop the youths. to be scaled up, to do all the things to defend. Where's the economic development in that? That's the no strategy for the national development at all. It's all political. Look at our standard of living. People saying, wow, why niti to sala fa seer te niti to dañ fii laa jógee gerte fa seer gerte fii laa jógee. You don't understand economic. Micro and economic. You don't understand. Fàtte nga ne kooku di jaay nititu doomam bi dafaa dem school dafaa fay school fees, doomam bi dafaa jël taxi dem school, doomam bi amul boss buñ subsidize, amul school boss. bul fàtte ne kooku fu moo jaay dañ yokka place bu moo jaay kaay bi dafaa fay lempo yi ñu ngi ko yokka 1000%. di go and look at home how naka rates in that country. Businesses yu ñoo dañ ko jaay transaction yooyu foo leen foog ne fa lañ ko def dañ ko pass on to the cost. dañ ko pass on to the cost. lu ñu yokka si ferry bi lu ñu yokka si port bi lu ñu yokka feneen yëpp dafaa dem into the cost of basic commodities. That's what a government should think about. Pise pasar bi sàcc bi yooyu yëpp dafaa dem si la ñàkka resources ñu yokka tax muy dem foofu loolu la. Laaj leen seen bopp all the condition of living in the Gambia. And I'll have to take time on this. I watch iAfrica TV. Thank you very much, iAfrica TV. It's proven that you have not been bored yet. You have an interview. You see, that interview, if it was done by, interview was done by a certain station, we'll say they are UDP. If it was done by certain people, we say NPP. If it was not done certain people, we say PDIS or GDC. But this was done by iAfrica. And iAfrica went to the market, and I want to take 3 samples that they did. One, they asked a lady, ku nekk di jënda mu wone ne look mënuma afford pour jënda dara because everything is for sale. Duutir $25 yi diwlin pot 15. Can I talk about a pot? Jën mu ne jën bi benn bi $100 la or something like that. So buggee tooga da nga am $300 yi pour tooga jën. And other things ñëwut. Okay, waxul la cost of lampa, waxul la cost of airtime. Now in telephone is a necessity. Bu leen foog ne it's not luxury, it's necessity. Waxul la cost of water, dafa fay ndox. Ko waxul la cost of other things. Loolu rek la wax. Loolu rek mu ne la jël rek 300. Guess this. Another lady, kooku baana la fa jaay. Mu ne seen kong bi, catfish bi, kong bi mu ngi jógee Bissau wala Senegal. Now we are importing catfish. Who is responsible? The government. Fisheries. Dem nañ ba léegi dafa mu ne seen xama is su jëndee pañe bi xaw ñaata 1000 la mu ne most of clients am yi su ñëwee dañoo waxaale la fa leen a yërëm mënuñ ko afford mu wàññil leen mu ne benn yeneen pañe yi daf ko dee am pour mu joxe ko ñooñu jaay delloo ko mu ne most of the case la fa ñooñu suñ munee lañ koo def because ñooñu suñ jaayee ñu ngi see dunda. Most likely this is what is creating a problem. You see, microeconomy loolu ngay xalaat. Now ñii ñu ngi prior standard of living mu ngi high ba nga xam ne seen mënuñoo maintain a business. Moo tax ñu dee wax ne waaw Gambien bi lu tax demul jaay Gambien mënu am business déedéet because of the responsibility bu Gambien bi am a single foreigner du ko dee am. moo tax ngaa dee gis ne foreigner bi su ñëwee mun a make money waaye lana tax Pulo Fuuta bi sénégalais bi ñoo mun a am xaalis sénégalais bi su ñëwee moom kenn la Pulo Fuuta bi su ñëwee moom kenn la amut those added baggages to take care of all the things. Most likely some of those people amuñ mbokk extended ngente wala dem jàppale kii jàppale sel amuñ loolu. These are the facts we should understand, not ne Gambien bi fa teel or anything. This is a problem. Now ndaw si wax loolu beneen waa ji mu ne nii this is the situation where ñu ngi sona mu ne suñ doom yi ñu ngi dem Europe ñu ngi leen a delloo si the back way. Man waxuma ne government duñ accept it, but what do we have for them? Do we have better government bi ndax am nañ benn policy buñ def to address the back way or people coming amuñ ko. They don't care. It's not affecting them directly, but it will affect them directly. More we should go and educate our people to sensitize them so that they will know and take responsibilities. ñun loolu lañ fail. We are failing that because not enough of us are doing that, educating the people. You don't have to educate them for any political party. Educate them to choose their political party. I don't educate anybody for a particular political party. I educate people for their own political. When you decide, and if they know, that's what. Then we will have the democracy that we've yearned for. You know, standard of living. You know, to employment. What is done for employment? Then your government be what? I have had Barrow before. You see, Barrow have made promises, but we cannot catch up. Barrow have said in 2017 in Burfoot, is going to build a factory to employ 100,000 money Dudiga. He said that in Burfoot, one of his store. Manelen Dudiga, Wahudiga. And it's here. Where is it? Where did the government? You see, one conducive environment like the Gambian employee. There are many things the government could have done. They have not done that. The investment that would have done to GTTI to get more youth skill up because of not Gambian be water nek leberes rek. You'd see could do more than that. In infrastructure, between different telecoms, they I tell you, Gambian youth see you get skills you have they could have developed in coding, they def other things, they develop other things, they def live in neka entrepreneurs, neka millionaires. It's possible. It's happening in other African countries. Did you have services? That's what we ask. That's how you create job. Make sure people skill up, people muna access job nga equity incentives so businesses empower Gambian businesses. You have to do all that. Do you know how many Gambian businesses went to invest or Gambian business investments that you among an enabling environment? How did we ever create apprenticeship incentives? United Kingdom here example. You have schemes, you have the businesses would have to take people on and technically the salary for those people, the apprenticeship salary, the far from government. In Yele is 2 tax breaks and other. There are many incentives. Why do we don't do that? Because these people employed, since maybe I'm apprenticeship, I'm a profession, these people would pay for all this rather than you fail. Do we do that? No. Employment, not at all. Look at our trade. Lan lañ empower on trade on suñ trade this thing. What do we empower? Did we empower anything on trade? What do we produce in the Gambia that have been empowered by Barrow to help these things? But Gambians are doing it on their own. Gambians are get try pour jël kasu bi def ko li, pour jël mbor bi def ko li, kinkeliba bi def ko li, jël nebeday bi def ko li. They're trying to do all these things. The women are going to the gardens trying to do the dimbal luñ len into anything. When they approach the women garden, women or anything, they politicize them. They would just want to use them for politics. Any project in the is not sustainable because it's all consumed in politics. Ñu tasaare ko mu yaaxu mu dem sustainability amut. Tey lan lañ def wax leen ma lan lañ export loo xam ne dañ ne since bu Barrow ñëwee we have done this improve ko. None. Trade none. But in fact, look at our fisheries. Call our fisheries. Tey su lu ñoo jooy jën. Why? Because of what we have. Bad deal with the EU, bad deal with Chinese, bad deal with Senegalese. How do you expect your neighboring country, Mola Opa territorial water, nga allow ko license to operate in your seas? Lan la benefit? Lan la benefit? What have you done to upskill your citizens, I mean, to ownership of this? Nothing. They don't care. We have seen the corruption. Them learn hold Furmus Gomez. He have changed. You see the evidence in them. Ministers here Holland, you see the evidence in them when they come to government and now. Them learn hold their properties, them learn hold their savings. It's the corruption, not their salary. Them learn hold their families. We know these people, they were all broke. They all came from the international or wherever they were, came broke. And this government, they made them who they are. Just like the case of Abdurrahman Ababakar Jawara, when he was wealthy, 2016, it's a lie. In fact, someone sent me a court case that happened 2017. He was renting trucks, and he could not pay for those trucks. That person have to take him to the courts. I mean, for that person to be compensated. Mung don't rent trucks. This is the lie about these people. Distortion of facts. The fisheries, mineral resources, all of the mines given to Abraham Jawa. Do we know what's in there? Because of the cut Mugelem Tibaro. It's everything about Barrow Abraham Jawa. Look at our environment. Look at the Gunjur. Look at the Sanyang. Look at the women Nako. Look at our farmlands. Look at everything. How nakalain ko yahe. They don't care about environment. Look at the deforestation. Look at the pollution of our seas, our rivers, and everything on the Barrow. You see, I am not compare. I don't want to compare with Jammeh. I don't want to say that even Jammeh Meluto no. But what these people do have never happened in the history of the Gambia. Gambia was known to champion. Gambia bu ñoo taxaw di wax about the flora. I forgot the year 71. I don't know, flora and the fauna, protection of the wildlife and the I mean this thing. I mean we were way ahead. When we stopped charcoal and everything, and it worked. When we start to reforest the Gambia, nga dem Kafuta, Kiang, Jara, everywhere ñuy def forest, build new forest with the Germans, with the Cyprus support, to the extent of the use the forest that been built to use those wood sustainability, not to use the wood. I mean, listen, these are the things. Anamte, we are relying on aid, we are relying on borrowing, and we don't use what we borrow properly. Mineral resources, and our youths and women. Tell me, which youths and women are empowered? ñoo leen a gis ñuy wax ne yëpp Gambia nice, dem leen xool ñooñu. These are the people running around Barrow. As I said, even any diaspora bu dem, so enjoying a little bit of North Gambia, I'll tell you 80% is sadness. So I'm a concerned now. 80% of our holidays is sadness in the Gambia. Yeah, we have the 20% of seeing loved one families, our memories and others. If we go to entertainment venues, it's sadness. I remember going to this place, and knew them. It was a Thursday night, and things business and get them down. And this was 95. I sat with a person I was with, and you order swing food and everything, and you feel guilty one day you spending this much. Why do you feel guilty about that? It's your money. You have to look after yourself. You have to enjoy yourself. But it do gain a CEO because of the consent. Man, you spend this much. Man, you spend Gambian salary on a meal or certain meals. But what else? You look at it. Yeah, I can afford it. I have given that much. I have done, but no. But you realize that the business was not owned by a Gambian. But Gambians were employed. I remember 3 people were waiters and 2 people from the kitchen. Because I made my research. I know that night 5 people were employed in that small restaurant. And they were all Gambians. But what I realized more, the services given, it was not done because of professionalism, not done because of customer service. It was desperate. These people knew your way. I'm a Gambian like them, with humbleness and everything. But no, they will not let it. Hey boss, yes boss. Hey, you get what with the Yerem Talu Benga Hamne, because they want something from you. That tip, they die for that tip. Because no ham luñ by gannaaw. That's the desperation our people live in. I looked at it, man, thank God. My eating from here is giving these people job. You see, you can see things in different ways. But why our people have to live like this? Desperate, them to the level, watch to a certain level. Because they expect something, not the professional service. Here, boss. Nga may joge from mainland, nga hold the appreciation. Nga you have relieved them from somewhere. These are the people we have. These are the things we have. Everywhere people are desperate. Employment, I'm dignity. I mean, what is happening with our youths? I mean, the entertainment venue to gain something, be something. The ignorance, buneka society. I mean, all these things. Then ample change this. That's what we should be thinking about, not to celebrate. We new halal infrastructure. without the strategic development plan. moo tax baroon waaw nañ try ñun tam ñu am pour ne Yaya Jammeh def na fii ñun tam def nañ fa lii. As I said, people ñu ignorant, I call them ignorant ñu people foog ne dañ jàng ba di compter ne waa Yaya Jammeh def na fi lopitaan ndax nit ñi dañ get better off after bu Yaya Jammeh defee lopitaan lopitaan lu moo njëriñ nit ñi get better off, we are better off before Yaya Jammeh lopitaan am yi ñëw because of what lum njëkk a yaaxa mooy di doctors képp koo xam ne mu ngi def liggéeyam bu baax and everything Yaya Jammeh génnee na la in fact mu dem indi that nonsense of treatment and nonsense gomloo the very gomloo to some of our doctors of his nonsense ethics culture discipline yëpp génne ko fa nekk mu indi fa everything di discipline bu fa amoon docteur si seen relationship xamal nuñ doon liggéey at yëpp yaaxa ko ndik tey dafa daaxa kii indi kii daaxa kele indi kele every kind of you don't need to qualify for anything muy param ku nekk minister of health ku nekk director of technical service ku nekk yëpp looloo gën a bon lanaay njëriñi building soo amuñu ko liggéey ana equipment si amu fa du dëgga tey su nekkoon ne Yaya Jammeh dafa na ko tey duñ doon toog di wax li dina jël time before loolu yaaw dara new fa woon building ne am nañ hospital fii am nañ fii am nañ fële yan depuis time Yaya Jammeh lañ doon waalaani di cross border di dem treatment why we were not having that treatment in the Gambia su nekkoon am na but that's loolu do you know why I talk about this I'm not doing this comparison for any reason the same thing la Barrow bu ko toppa am nañ tali am nañ bridge kenn waxut la duñ am tali duñ am bridge bu dafa war strategy tey Fodé Singate mu ngi travel the one Trans Gambia bridge bi or the called Senegambia bridge nga dem xool Farafenni dead Soma dead because of what strategic development plan amu fa the assessments you want to for the social impact assessment defuñ ko environment come on these are the things that you need. Do you know why it happened? Gambia again buñ bàyyee xel when Sadawda went to France two things it was on the table. Yeah, the French wanted that bridge, French wanted that connection, Senegal, we have to be very careful. You understand the geopolitics. But Gambia wanted more from it. Gambia wanted to protect their interests. Saudi Arabia wanted to protect our interests. That's why it took that time. And so it was about the telecoms and this bridge. Said France put this on the agenda. And the Gambia have done studies on this. Gambia wanted something. They wanted the bridge. They wanted a bridge barrage for irrigation and power plant. They wanted two things: to generate energy and to use the water, excess water, to push the salinity of the water, the salt out back. Further down to the combos, fresh water. Then we can use that for irrigation. We looked at all that. All this. Listen, the USAID sponsored those studies, but environmental impact assessment we didn't pass it. Now we got to look at other things. But Senegal wanted one thing. They just wanted a link. They wanted access. They wanted this. Yes, that's their interest. That's what government do. Yaya Jammeh ñëw di panti. I'll tell you what happened. Yaya Jammeh was bullied. Bu mu demee ba dugal loxoom si fu mu ko war to dugal. That's when Yaya Jammeh was forced to sign. Can you all remember? Some of you might not remember because you were not following. When we had the impasse on with Senegal on border closure, that was in 2015. I think it was early 2015 or 2014. That's when Senegal put in the negotiation, then you sign and we have the contract. Mota Solen Deme hold the contract, everything was way to the interest of Senegal. And the people like Mamboure Ndiaye, people like Alaji Cissé, people like all those people are influenced by Senegalese interests. Them then hold there's a lot of defect with that bridge. The design defect, you make us a bridge, Bobo. I don't have time to talk about that. Next government have to look at that. And that was deliberate, done in order to disadvantage us, so that ozone liners cannot get to Kawor. Gambia, they need ozone liners to get to Kawol. That is strategic. It is should be part of our strategic development plan to open up first founding fathers so that we can get our trade into Mali and other countries, into Senegal and Mali. Lulu, the bridge, way it's constructed, the height is not enough. The tides of the river, I'm not from them, you cannot have ozone layer fire in the bout. These are things that we should look at. But Yaya Jammeh was rude, Nyaka Yar, Senegalese Pleko, and he was put in a corner. That's why we had the contract. Boom, then maybe contract them start, he brought up a problem again. Then when he left, it was continued. But what else have been done? No, no. It's just them, def. And now we are paying for that. Standard of living mungi up, mungi neka a problem because of productivity. We have not invested in productive economy. The agriculture is not productive. They've invested in it. Now the roads and bridges, other people come and use it and go. The problem we have in Farafenni, we're going to have in Basse. Once the bridge, those bridge already in Basse, now from Wellingara to the other side of Senegal, people just go. And Gambia would just be dependent on the Senegalese markets. This is what is happening. Because of this government doesn't plan. The one it's not that. We have to have a strategic development plan. And NDPB is no way. Because everything is based on politics. NDPB is off the way, of the scale. Now what all we doing, we are sitting on a ticking time bomb. That's today what we think of. We are sitting on a ticking time bomb. Why the armed forces? We should be reformed, Amut. Why the youths, they need to be empowered. You get repatriate more youths, you get depressed and everything. Youths in the Gambia are depressed. I mean anything to do, and that's a ticking time bomb. The failure of service delivery from network to internet and all the things are all triggers that could you trigger these things. But again, even our democratization, going to elections with IEC trying everything, now they have now given the go ahead, IEC putting them ahead. Are we going to have these elections? How are we going to have these elections? Then now Barrow is struggling to build a political party. What am we def nonsense here? The risk life in any. Now, how is Barrow going to win an election? The only way Barrow would win an election is to such elections. What would happen to Barrow such elections? Did we think about that? What do we have in the country? These are all things we start on. There's nothing for us to register now, then we celebrate. But as I said, one thing we should do is to renew our firm allegiance to that country, to work, and that is us. Us, I mean people who have the means. People have little knowledge, people have the little time, people have the resources and everything, something to go with, to go and educate our people, to be into when talk, we cannot separate. Look, we can just be in our professions. No. We have to get out there. The most important thing, when the political leadership is right. If that fails, nothing, hospitals will not work. We can get the best doctors, but nothing, no resources will go to there, political will not be there. We see environment will do bad because everything will not, nothing will work. And we will be sitting and crisis might happen anytime. Thank you guys, and that was for the day today. As I said, it was discussing the day today, the 18th of February, and what about us? It's nothing about celebration. I have nothing to celebrate. I have not watched. I have not listened. I have nothing to watch because of that's what out there is not true. Those people, men and women showing gallantry and everything is not appreciated because that's why we have Senegalese soldiers guarding the president because they're scared of them. Or they're just saying, why didn't we reform them and make sure, the right people are there? What do we have to celebrate today? We are in the middle of a pandemic, but what do we have? People are dying everywhere else. Does the government have indecisive? These are the problems we have. Where are the jobs? Our youths are being repatriated. Our youths are at home. Still taking the back way. What do we have to celebrate? Standard of living. Schools are not reforms. Education. These are the things we need to talk about. Thank you very much, guys, and have a good day. Thank you.